Okay, welcome everyone. This presentation is about the Dhamma Wiki, and this is a website used by our organization for all aspects of organizing and serving on courses. So it includes information for ATs, for management, trusts, committees, and for our purpose today, children's and teen course organizing and CCT service. The Wiki is a website to hold information that everyone can share and also collaborate and have various permissions to edit and upload information. So it's a collaborative website for organizations. And you'll see the web address is wiki.dhamma.org. So if you ever forget how to get there, just remember wiki.dhamma.org. And if you're having trouble logging in, it may be because you don't have the HTTPS. Some websites don't have the S there. This one does because it's a secure website for usernames and passwords. So also remember the https://wiki.dhamma.org. So so the focus will be on making this easy to access, so tips on accessing and also navigating in the wiki so that it's not overwhelming, and you have a few suggestions to make it easier for you to find what you're looking for. And then maybe it will be you'll be more successful in finding what you need, and then you might be able to use it more, and perhaps we can add more to it for your regions to make it a tool for you to use regionally. So the first thing you'll get to is this login, and you're going to need a username and password. And then these few tips here are to create a bookmark for this login page. If you don't know how to do bookmarks, we can talk about it after the presentation. People can stay on the line for specific questions. And the bookmark can be saved in your browser. If you use Chrome and you have a Google account, you can use it on any computer. So whenever you log into your Google account, your bookmarks will be with you wherever you are. And then you just click down and select the Wiki bookmark. Also check the box Remember Me, and also really keep track of your password. This is another obstacle people find. If they're not keeping track of their passwords, then they just can't log in. So highly recommend those three things. So today we're going to cover this the children's and teen course section, and in particular the CCT section. So when navigating around the wiki, I'll show you these points listed here that give you different options for looking for information. We're going to find a main category at the top called Child and Teen Courses, and within that are wiki spaces and pages. I'll explain all of these in detail later. Navigation bar on the side, and the structure of pages. You have pages and child pages, meaning there's a hierarchical nest of pages and how it's organized, and I'll show you that in a bit. And you can do a search, and you can look at your activity stream. And that'll make more sense once we're actually looking at the wiki page, which we'll get to right away. So of all the child and teen course category, we have the following spaces, and RCCC is for regional coordinators, CCT is for children's course teachers, CTC organizing is a space for everyone, but you can also include people who are not CCTs, so most of our organizing materials can be available to people who are not CCTs, so they have their own space. And then registration has its own space, and there's a blog, which is its own space, and it's not active, but it's kind of in the piloting stage, or kind of it's just the beginning stages. And then we have committee spaces so that regional areas can have their own space. So we'll go right to the wiki now. And I want to first actually start with the bottom up and start with registration, because we'll just briefly show you what's here so that we can focus on the CCT part. So this is the very home page of a wiki space. They all kind of look like this when you first go to the space. And I'm going to show you a red arrow to point out different things. At the top, you have the category. You'll see other categories such as AT and teacher and regions, systems, etc. Maybe depending on your permissions, you'll see different things. You should all be able to see child and teen courses. And at the top category, you also have this arrow here. And you click that and it shows you all the spaces within that category. And so each space is independent, even though they interlink with links, but they're independent with different features. It allows us to give people different permissions to access different spaces. So that's where we have regional coordinators, CCT, organizing, registration, and blog, and then all these committees, Latin America down at the bottom. And that's by clicking that arrow. If you actually just click the words, it gives you this activity stream. And I'm not clear if it only shows when you've edited a page or if it's when you've actually visited that page. So I'm not sure what it will show for all of you when you go to that activity stream. It shows what you've most recently worked on. And on the side here, also the spaces are listed. If you, let's go back to registration, and you'll see on the left side here is this navigation tree, and you'll see little arrows next to different pages. They show if something's nested under it. So you'll see this top home page is in bold, and that shows you which page is open, and it matches the title there. And if we click the arrow next to any of these pages that have an arrow next to it, you'll see what's nested under it. Let's look at this one, like application processing. You're going to see one for servers and one for students. If you look at review, you're going to see different things, different pages for application review. So there's more than it in this list. It's kind of hidden away until you click these arrows to reveal it. We also have these links to the other children's spaces because they're a separate space. You can't get to it through the sidebar. You have to actually leave that space either by clicking those links or going to the arrow up here. So this is just registration. In the future, I hope to do a demo on registration so we can look more in detail there. For course organizing, go to that space. Same thing, you have the title of the space up here. It shows you that we've moved to a new space, and the home page is open there. It's bold, and it matches the title there. And same thing, it has some pages with arrows that will open up pages below it. For example, activities. We'll see there's a number of pages within activities. But if you go to that main page of activities, you'll see that you've got this table of contents there and a list of activities, and with links to, some have videos. So in the manual we can't put photos and videos, so on the wiki we can. So you'll see a couple YouTube videos instructing you how to play some of these games. We'll go into more detail with activities, hopefully in a future demo. And other aspects of course organizing, maybe outreach. You can all give input to if you want to recommend a focus of a demo in the future. But today let's go to the CCT space and kind of take a look at this one and then our manual. So, any questions up till this point?
No, it's all clear.
Okay, great. So again, we have the child teen course category is always at the top, so that you can, if you get lost, you can always go back there and see which space you want to be on. Whoops. And the space is listed here. That's changed. You'll notice this is now CCT, and we're on that home page, and it shows there. And we also link to the organizing and registration in RCC space just for convenience. It's not totally necessary. And there's quite a lot here in the CCT space, as with the others. So you want to distinguish what's in the CCT manual and what's not. So if we look at this red arrow here, you'll see the CCT training manual is listed at the top. It's really listed as its own parent page. And if we click that arrow underneath it, it opens all of the pages within the manual, all the sections within the manual. And so then you'll see below that, well, all those pages are indented a little bit. If we go to the very end of it, see this red arrow, you're going to see that the next page available is actually not within the manual, it's its own page, and it says CCT Training Manual PDF, so that's where you can find that. CCT Training Manual, how to view, and then everything below that. Still useful information for CCTs, but it's technically not in the training manual. So for all your guidelines, you always want to make sure you're looking at pages, sections within this training manual. They're all nested under that heading. Any questions about that? Okay, great. So before we go into the manual, let's look at a few other ways to search. You've got this search bar up here, and if you type into that, let's do that. Let's say you were somewhere else entirely in the wiki, and you want to just, you want to go to the CCT training manual. You just type in there CCT training manual, and you'll see things already start to pop up even before you're finished. And you're going to see a few choices here. Training workshops, introduction to the manual, CCT training manual. I see that's the main one, the heading page. Then you've got training manual PDF, editing it, guidelines. You'll see it's under the RCC space, the guidelines one. So you won't be able to see that unless you're in RCCC. So I'll click the CCT training manual, and you'll see that it takes us to this lower page. It's now bold, and it matches the title there. And all the pages below it are opened. Those are called the child pages of this parent page. and they're nested under it. You'll see the first one is introduction, objectives, Goenka's address, concluding message. So it's matching everything that's in your current manual, but the advantage now is it's up to date online. And so if you have an out-of-date manual, you'll know that the latest is online. And you can just be up to date. If we look at, let me try to scroll here. This home page, it also has a table of contents. It's kind of redundant. It matches exactly the nested pages over on the side menu. The reason I did that is because some people, get a little confused looking at the nested menu, and when they go to this home page, it looks more like a classic table of contents. Eventually, I'll try to get it to have like Roman numerals or some sort of a number so it's easier to refer to by number. But they're basically just links that link you to these pages on the side. So let's pick one. Let's say we want to go to, this is a pretty important page, Guidelines for Children's Anapana Courses. We just recently made some changes to this, so let's look at it. Click on that, and you'll notice that the bold, or the, I'm sorry, the bold heading there is that nested page, and it matches the title there. So you'll see that it's in that nest there. So if you want to go to the side, you can get to it there too. Now you might remember this page. This is a brief outline of our guidelines, and some of what's changed here are the ways we talk about segregation. And it is our standard still, but we have now written in here some exceptions that can be made by the regional coordinator if there are certain situations that we feel it's more appropriate to relax segregation around activity times. It's not something that it's basically the regional coordinator's judgment whether or not that needs to happen. But that's been the latest change. We've taken out the word segregation and changed it to grouping by gender. Some of these heavily loaded terms are just sounding really bad in today's culture, especially around gender, especially with laws being passed now that are questioning discrimination based on gender as being illegal. So we want to be really careful with that. So we're delicately looking into that and making any adjustments that we need while maintaining the integrity of the tradition and the reasons why we have guidelines. So without getting more into detail of specific guidelines, this is just an example of going to a current wiki page and seeing what's up to date. And it's better than going to your paper printed manual, which may be out of date. So any questions about that or anything else? Okay. Let's see here. What else did I want to cover? So you can share pages. Let's say we wanted to share this page, or you're working with a group of CCTs, and let's say you want to suggest a story. Let's say you're having a conference call with your CCTs, and you're trying to set your agenda and set your schedule for the course. You actually want to decide on activities, you want to decide on stories, you can actually build your agenda with the Wiki pages. Let's say you go to telling stories, you see that here, and you can scroll through this, or let's go back to sharing the page. You can go to this, let me highlight that. It's this symbol here of the screen with the arrow, and you click that, and then you can enter the email address there and share, and it will send them a link to that page. That person will need to have a username and password to view it. You can also click the three dots and export to PDF or export to Word if you want to download it and print it, that kind of thing. Another example is actually takes you outside of the CCT space. Let's say you are looking at activities. In the manual, we have our standard list of activities that are a short list with short instructions. And let's say you want more than that. At the top, there is a link to the activities in the organizing space. You'll realize this page here is in the CCT space. You can tell by the top left, right here, we're in the CCT space. But we have more activities listed in the organizing space so that people who are not CCTs can access it. So if we click that link, this is an example of how the manual is now interlinked with a website. So it's a little more versatile. Not only do you get what's in the manual, but it's interlinked with this larger website with registration, with organizing, with regional coordinator, stuff and calendars, etc. So let's go to activities. You'll see that top left, the space name changed. It's now organizing. So we were totally left that CCT space. And we're now on the activities page. And you can go to a specific activity that has more details. Let's say we go to parachute games, and you want to send your servers these instructions. So then you can share it with this, or perhaps in an email you send to all your servers, you just copy the link to this page. That same sharing logo there gives you a link, so you can just copy the link there. And a really quick way to get to it is you press the letter K and it opens up that same window. But it's just as easy to just click that. So then you just send them that link and make sure they have a username and password. If there's someone that you don't think will need access so much and you don't want to spend the time to get them a user account, we have a generic login for organizers, and you can always write to your coordinator or me to get those passwords. It's basically CTC-organizer and the password's DAMA, and so then they can access all of this without having a CCT login. We want to make sure we don't give out our CCT logins to anyone, the generic one or your personal one. So that's an example of sharing it. We've left that space, and if you're lost and you're wondering, how do I get back to the manual? Just click up here and go back to CCT. For me, I might go to my activity stream and I'll see CCT training manuals right there, or you can always do your back arrow from your browser and it takes you back to where you were. So that's a pretty useful tip. And I guess the last thing I'll share before we just open this up for any questions or specific ideas and questions is the last point is, let me see here. I'm just looking at my notes. Sorry about that. Is let's close these pages for the manual on the side, and it shows the PDF manual. We'll click that link, and it basically is just some instructions for printing manuals for workshops. That's for regional coordinators, and then you'll see below that are the links to the PDF. So if you do like to view things as a PDF, that's there, and it won't always be as up to date as what's on the wiki pages, but it'll be updated periodically for printing for workshops. And then if we look at this one, next one below it, CCT Training Manual, How to View, it's basically some short instructions and a screenshot of the layout of a wiki page to remind you of how it's all organized. There's another tip here with these 3 dots you'll see circled in green. If you see those on the side, you can expand your page and it shrinks that menu on the side, and you can shrink it and see that menu again. So it gives you a better view of that page, but you can, just a little trick. So that's it. That's basically a introductory overview of navigating around the wiki, just to make it a little easier so that it's not as intimidating when you want to try to find what you're looking for. So does anyone have anything they want to add or share or ask?
In the top right corner, I see create. Now, is that for, I remember previously it was just for certain people who had permission to add information?
Yeah, that's right. That is basically if you have editing permissions, and I really encourage people who think they really want to take this on for their region. If they want to get editing permissions, basically I'll give you editing for what's on the organizing space. And you'll see on the organizing space all these different regions, and I've actually set up pages for different regions that are basically just blank templates, meaning it's just a home page to get started. So if anyone wants to develop a page for their space, they can do that. And if they get really deep into it, like I have, if you look at the Northwest space for our committee, we have quite a lot of information there for our regional stuff for all these different locations. So, yep, long answer to a short question. Creating is editing, and it gives you all these options: a calendar, blank page, decision pages. It's a little more complex, but a lot of good stuff is in there.
Eric, you can hear me?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Susanna.
Hi, Susanna.
How are you? Thank you very much for
Good.
this. You know, I'm a little bit confused because when I enter to the Spanish section, and then I find a little bit of too much, you know, and I'm trying to get it better. I was asking in this chat if we can access to the training video here, from here, or we just got to the Vimeo.
Yes. Yes. for everyone's information, Susanna and some others made a video in, where is it? Which country? Brazil
My
or
country?
Brazil?
My country is Mexico.
Oh yeah, you're in Mexico. Okay.
See.
So, and it was about organizing courses, is that right?
No, I'm talking about the one somebody sent about a training
Hmm.
video for servers that
Yeah,
is in Vimeo, and it's very good. We are
yeah.
working here for translating because I think it's a very useful tool for us.
Right. I did watch the video and it's great. And
See, see.
the wiki limits the amount of data on here.
Okay,
So I haven't actually,
okay,
there are videos on here, but I think they might actually be embedded from YouTube and Vimeo. So yes, you can.
okay.
Yeah, an example of that is in the organizing section. I've linked this YouTube channel, and it shows you basically how to get to the YouTube channel. And then on some of the
Oh, yeah.
activities, an example of
Okay.
activities, if I can try to remember where we have a video, maybe here's a video. So I basically linked to YouTube. So
Okay.
you just click the link and it goes straight to YouTube. Yeah,
Eric,
yeah.
is there a way that I can enter the wiki and for all the activities in English and Spanish, like organizer, like RCCC, because sometimes it happens that I enter some way and I don't have the permission for doing something. Is there just one password that I can enter and
Hmm.
navigate for all the wiki?
Yes, and basically you just have to ask the administrators, and I'm one, that if you're not able
Okay,
to see a certain space, what we do is just give you the permissions for that space, and then your password will work for that space. So yes, you can
okay,
have one login. And I
okay.
think I just gave you these ones today.
Maybe, but
So
you know I
you
don't
try
know.
today.
Yes.
After the meeting, try again, and now you might see all of these things.
And
'Cause
where can I see this password? You gave me one.
I think I just set you up today, and you should receive an email asking you to set up your password.
Okay, okay. I'll try. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Oh, thank you very much, Eric. Very useful for us.
You're welcome.
Eric, I have a question. This may be just for me, Mike Cronin.
Okay.
Thinking that I may have not have signed in online correctly.
Hmm.
Was I supposed to be following you? You kept talking about an arrow here and an arrow there.
Basically, it's just viewing. I'm sorry, I should have made sure everyone could see. Basically, it's when you open the GoToMeeting, you get a window that is a screen that I'm sharing, and it should automatically pop up. It's probably hidden behind one of your other windows. And so sorry you
Okay.
missed that. That was basically just me showing you everything that I was doing. So maybe you didn't see any of that.
No, I got to follow everything except the sharing part, and I'll go through and
Oh yeah, so
talk
I'll just
about
show
that.
you. The sharing is this. Can you see my screen now?
No, I'm on an old computer and it's very slow, so it bogs down.
Okay.
But I
Basically,
don't want to
you'll
take
You
up
just
may
all
see
have
a,
the
to
time. Yeah.
download GoToMeeting.
basically you'll just see a little icon on the wiki page that's a box with an arrow. Just kind of explore by selecting different things and you'll see a share button.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot more here. So it's good to explore yourselves, just kind of look around and see what's here. And it might be helpful. You'll see things that maybe you didn't think of before for playing audio video material. There's instructions here for using a flash drive or an iPod. So yeah, just look around, explore, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. And the main thing is just knowing the training manuals here. And when you need to remind yourself of some guideline or to find something, you'll see the latest here. Okay. If anyone wants to stay on the line, feel free. If others need to go, thanks for joining. Glad you could come, and hopefully we'll do more in the future.
Good night.
Thank you, Eric.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Eric.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.